I know. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for a special in-school edition of Varsity Basketball. Please welcome our guests who had the guts to go into somebody else's house with 2,000 fans for the other team, and we have nothing but respect for that. Our guests for today from Nona High School, they are the Lions. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Because we are still loading fans into the arena, we are going to go ahead and get started with our starting lineups. And we are going to begin with our guests from Lake Nona. As we get ready to do that, we want to let you know, because we're in the middle of the school day today, we know a lot of our parents and fans could not be here to watch the game in person. So we have today's game live streaming on YouTube and the NFHS network. You can text your parents or make sure they know. Make sure other fans know that we are live streaming, NFHSnetwork.com, or if you're not a member there, we are also on YouTube, which is absolutely free. Just search for Wekiva Sports on the YouTube app with your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device, and it should come right up. Again, NFHSnetwork.com or the YouTube app, keyword Wekiva Sports. Let's get going with the starting lineups. Beginning with Lake Nona and starting at guard with 6'1" senior number 1, Brandon Rivera. At guard, 6'2" senior number 2, Kason Beezer. At guard, 6'2" senior number 3, Kamani Dixon. At forward and center, 6'8" junior, number 12, Will Carey. And finally for the Lions, at forward and center, 6'7" junior, number 23, Leonardo San Juan. The head coach of the Lions is Andy Jabru and assistant coach Zachary Gagny. And now, let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting at guard, 6'1", junior, number 3, Eric Nichols. Guard, 6'6", junior number 21, Petty Jones. At point guard, 6'7", senior, number 10, Wilson Francia. At guard, 6'1", senior number 1, Detroit Thomas. And finally for the Mustangs, at point guard, 6'2", senior number 2, Vance Pierre.
We doing the anthem? Hey, I'm cool with it if you miss it. All right, bet.
The officials for today's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. Special welcome to those of you joining us online. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva High School, joined by Neil Fisher of the Apopka sports writing community, and we are ready to get things started with the first ever, to my knowledge, in-game event. And Neil, certainly you feel the energy in the room. Because, of course, we're headed into Thanksgiving break, we're headed into the holiday, and just the energy in the stands reflects the uniqueness of today's event.
Absolutely, Mark, as always.
Francian puts the Mustangs on the board.
As you said, Mark, first ever during the school day game, and you can feel, I'd go as far as saying the electric and eclectic atmosphere here. Of course, we do have photographers on both sides of the floor, and as you can see in the background, the students filling in the stands. Both these teams coming in at 1-0.
Hold called against Kamani Dixon, his first, the team's first. Now, programming note I want to make for you as you look in the stands, we got a Lions basket from Kaysen Beezer. As you look in the stands, you may see a lot of black t-shirts. There is a theme day today. It is the blackout. That's why Wekiva is wearing their black jerseys despite being the home team. So the colors are reversed from what you're normally used to seeing here at Mustang Arena.
Yeah, and actually, excuse me, Mark, Lake Nona lost their opening game to Innovation. It's a 2-2 score, minute and a half into this first ever in-school day game. 78-76 was the final score against Innovation. Of course, Wekiva comes in 2-0. Being the in-house team, we've had a chance to watch both of those games, and Innovation with their chance to take the lead for the first time in this afternoon in this game. Lake Nona coming off a 10-14 season, and certainly a lot of room for improvement. They gave up 55 points per game last year, scored only 52 themselves, 40% field goal, and so far, again, Mark and I have not had a chance to watch Lake Nona, but again, looking at their game and the stats from the Innovation, certainly looks like they are on the right track in terms of improving from last season as we get a whistle.
Fouls called against Kamani Dixon, his first, the team's first.
2-2, 2 minutes into this game. Wekiva looking to go 3-0 for the first time in 3 seasons. Lake Nona looking to even their record at 1-1. And again, going back to Lake Nona, a team that again only scored 52 points last season. All of their 3 leading scorers in their first game against Innovation. Newcomers, that being Leonardo San Juan with 22 points. Herrera was 16, and Rivera that counted for about 2/3 of their points. So look for those 3. They're going to basically ride with a big 3 concept tonight from the point. No dice. That was Dixon. He was unable to drop the tray, and they do get that second chance, as you like to say, Mark. 2-2 score still as we go 2.5 minutes into this game.
Danielle, and as I mentioned during the introduction, you got to hand it to Lake Nona, who just had a lot of courage coming here. Second chance done by Kenny Tuju.
And there's an area that we've certainly seen Wekiva improve through the first 2 games. offensive rebounding comes to roost there. 4-2 as we drop under 5 minutes in the first quarter. And the atmosphere continues, as we said, as we came on, eclectic and electric. And now that the stands are almost filled, about 2/3 of the way, you can certainly hear that intensity ratcheting up on a steady pace as we get our second whistle of the game.
Foul is called against Mustangs. Number 1, DJ Thomas. That's his first personal foul, the team's second. Neil, I think at halftime I may have to go get the extra amplifier because I just don't have enough juice to shout over these fans, and that's a big problem to have.
Score the trade for
scored by Brandon Rivera.
5-4 lead for Lake Nona, second lead change of the ball game. Along with one tie, the answer, no dice. Long range does not drop for Nichols, but another offensive rebound. Give that one to Francillon, trying to work one-on-one. Can't get that done. Back up to the top of the key. St. Pierre resets the offense. No dice on the miss, on the 6-footer from the baseline. Underneath the scrapping, a whistle that was the Juice battling low for Wekiva halfway through the first quarter.
Foul called against number 3, Kamani Dixon. That's his second personal foul, the team's second. At the line, shooting to Kenny DeJuiced.
So DeJuiced at the line, looking for his first points of the game. Excuse me, it's third and fourth. He's already scored a deuce. Nice stroke for the 6'6" sophomore. Talked about Lake Nona, almost a completely new team in terms of the significant point scores last year. Moving on, as Wekiva goes back into the lead at 6-5. Wekiva, the completely difference. They were 12 and 14 last season, so obviously an average, and they have almost everybody returning. The only player you'll see in the main rotation who's a newcomer is Kai Orr, a 6'1" sophomore. And we've so far seen the dividends. Rattles in and out for Francillon. Second opportunity, third opportunity. DeJuiced unable to go. Snagging that fourth offensive rebound is Darian Thomas.
Held ball, possession, Lions.
Unfortunately, though, he got tied up with Lake Nona, and the possession, as you heard Mark Bartsey say, who's also our public address announcer as well as my on-air partner. Possession will go to Lake Nona, but if you're Coach Rubin, you gotta like what you're seeing on those boards so far.
Blocked by DeJuiced, now to the other end. Second chance, done by Kenny DeJuiced.
8-5 lead now for Wekiva. 3 minutes, first quarter. Action continues. Fans continue to fill up here from Mustang Arena in this first ever in-school day game. The steal, that's St. Pierre, leads the charge. Stop, pop, and drop.
Stop, pop, drop. Ruben St. Pierre.
And on that note,
timeout, Lions. Full timeout requested by Lake Nona.
And on the 6-0 run now, Coach Gabru has seen enough, and he wants that timeout. Wekiva full court defense, gets that turnover, fourth of the period. Can they take advantage? Yes! Drain the rain from Nichols.
3, Eric Nichols.
8-0 run now for Wekiva. 9-0 run. That was a tray. Lake Nona still unable to find the range with any consistency, shooting under 30%. Wekiva continues. Second consecutive.
More, Eric Nichols.
Second consecutive tray. Now a 12-0 run for Wekiva, trying to get through that lane. That was Beezer, hands it off. Possession will remain with Lake Nona. 2:12 remaining, first quarter. Inbound for Lake Nona. They'll go to work trying to break this 12-0 run from Wekiva. Stop, pop, no drop. That was Beezer, the 6'2" senior, who dropped 15 in their opener against Innovation, and he'll go to the free throw line, drawing
Foul
the
is called
contact.
against DJ Thomas, his second, the team's third. That will send the Lions to the free throw line. This is number 2, Kason Beezer.
So Beezer moving into the starting rotation again. Dropped 15 points in that opening regular season loss to Innovation. Leonardo San Juan leading Lake Nona with 22 points, and Ramiro Herrera with 15 in that opener. Opportunity to cut into that lead. Goes by the wayside in terms of the full potential. 16 to neither point dropping, neither free throw dropping. And Wekiva continues to pound the offensive boards. From the corner, rattles in and out, skying for the rebound to Juice. And he gets whacked on the second attempt. So 8
Foul
offensive,
ball, possession, Mustangs.
8 offensive rebounds already in this first quarter for Wekiva. That's turned into, I believe it's 7 points now. I know they've gotten a couple of trays, at least one tray off of those offensive rebounding, as we drop to 135 in the first quarter. And Wekiva back to work. They'll try that tray again, unable to find the range. But another offensive rebound, this time Lake Nona coming up with the strong defense. Unable to connect at that other end. Wekiva not only putting the offensive rebound, but solid defense. And that sparked them to the 11-point lead with 1:12 remaining. Stop, pop, and drop, +1.
Foul's called against number 23, Leonardo San Juan, his first, the team's third. The basket scored by Leuven St. Pierre. It is good. He's at the line shooting for the three-point play.
So a 14-0 run now for Wekiva, and certainly, you know you're playing at Mustang Arena, Mark. You can hear it in the background. They're being spurred on as well by this crowd. Free throw does not drop, clinks off that heel. Back the other way we go. Another opportunity. Floats in the deuce.
Eric Nichols.
Under a minute, the run continues, 16-0 now.
Foul's called against Mustangs, number 24, Amir Garland, his first, the team's fourth. And that will send number 23, Leonardo San Juan, to the line.
So San Juan, after dropping 22 points in that opening game of the regular season, still looking for his first points. So now 8 turnovers for Lake Nona in this first quarter. And that's where the defense comes in, Mark. Certainly a team taking advantage of its experience, being Wekiva. as we get a substitution. That'll be Kai Orr coming in. Leuven St. Pierre taking a seat after dropping 4 points as well. 49.7 seconds, 1 of 2 from the free throw line from San Juan, his first points. That breaks the 14-0 run. Long range to Trey, can't get that one to go. Bounces around, fouls Dixon. A pair of threes, Nichols for Wekiva battling Dixon. As we are now at full capacity. Both sides of this arena being filled by the students. In this first ever in-school day game in any sport, trying to weave his way through the defensive era, which he does. Still some strong defense, 20 seconds, first quarter, stepping back is Perez. Can't find the range on the tray, rims off, and Wekiva with an opportunity to get the last points of the first quarter if they so choose. Unable to get through that Lake Nona defense.
Traveling, Lions ball.
And only the second turnover for Wekiva with 9.8 seconds remaining. Inbound from Beezer. Lake Nona now with the opportunity to break some of Wekiva's momentum they built. They'll take the tray, and a bad judgment call there. Dixon will go to the line. That's a 3-point free throw. 2.7 seconds remaining.
Foul is called against Mustangs. Number 12, Markel Anderson. That's his first personal foul, the team's fifth. Shooting 2 will be Kamani Dixon.
So Dixon at the line. This will be the 6th free throw for Lake Nona. They're 2 of 5. So the only mistake, the only bad play that Wekiva's made in this first quarter, committing the foul on the 3-point field goal attempt. Lake Nona will take some of that momentum that Wekiva has seized into the break between the periods. That's 3 of 3 for Dixon. Last shot, that's going to be way short. And so Wekiva coming out looking like the team that started the season 2-0.
That takes us to the end of the first quarter, and it's an 11-point lead for your Mustangs. 20-9 is the score at the first break here on Friday afternoon basketball action as we go into Thanksgiving break. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. The Mustangs have the opening possession of the second quarter.
And Wekiva has the lead on the strength of a 14-0 run midway through that first quarter. Take a quick look at the stats as we mentioned throughout that first quarter. 20-9 your score as we begin the second quarter. It's been turnovers and offensive rebounds propelling Wekiva to that lead. 9 offensive rebounds, 8 points scored as a result of the second chance, and 8 turnovers committed by Lake Nona. Your leading scorers, Eric Nichols with 8, then Kenny DeJuice with 6, Leuven St. Pierre with 4, and Jason Francelin
Foul
with
is called
2.
against number 24, Amir Garland, his second, the team's first of this period.
Only the third turnover for Wekiva. And we mentioned this in both of our opening games, Mark. This is a team, most of these players have been together for almost 2 years. The majority have been together for 3 seasons. 2022, that team went all the way to the state Final Four, won 20-plus games. As make the withdrawal.
Leonardo San Juan picks up 2 for the Lions.
Cuts the lead to 20-11 in single digits again. That 2022 team going all the way to the state Final Four. And most of those players moved on after the season. Only one player returned.
Kenny DeJuice back in for the Mustangs.
And so now here we are 3 seasons later, Mark. And certainly we're showing the experience of going through the trials and tribulations with this 2-0 start, and now in position to add a 3-0 start.
Yeah, Neil, I mean, this leads into the Metro versus Florida Challenge, as we've talked about before. So that'll be over the break. Both of these teams will be participating in that. Fouls called against Mustangs, number 12, Markel Anderson. That's his second, the team's second.
Beezer will inbound the ball, one-on-one against Orr. And Orr, the only player in the main rotation for Wekiva who was not on the team last year. Another turnover, a quick sleight of hand. Wekiva looking to regain some of this momentum. Drain the rain!
For Ruben St. Pierre!
Not only has Wekiva regained the momentum on that flick of the wrist, but they now have the biggest lead of the game, 12 points. Stop, pop, and drop, score the deuce.
Jump shot for Kason Beezer.
So far, Lake Nona answering Wekiva. Of course, the problem is they have to make up 11 points in this quarter. Not in this quarter, but over the course of the game. And there's the third consecutive tray.
For Leuven St. Pierre. Double digits for him, 10 points in the books now for Leuven St. Pierre.
And so Wekiva's now answered both of Lake Nona's last baskets with the tray. So even when Lake Nona is scoring points, Wekiva's adding a point to that lead. The fadeaway bounces off the rim. Carey, offensive rebound.
Second chance basket scored for the Lions by Leonardo San Juan. And we'll pause for a 30-second timeout requested by Lake Nona.
So Lake Nona trying to keep that lead around 10 points. 5:39 remaining, second quarter, first in-school day game from Wekiva, 26-15. Back to live action from Mustang Arena. First in-school game ever in any sport. You can feel the electricity and the eclectic atmosphere. Wekiva opening up a 26-15 lead. 14 straight points midway through the first quarter, propelling them to that lead. Lake Nona's come out, shot the ball well in the beginning of the second quarter. Unfortunately, Wekiva is scoring 3 points for every deuce that Lake Nona puts in, and they have maintained that 11-point lead as we go 5-10 second quarter. Down low we go to the baseline. Wekiva looking to go 3-0 in the season. Lake Nona looking to go even its record at 1-1. A pair of teams around 500 as the tray. Long range, St. Pierre. That was a good 3 feet behind the arc. Can't find the range. And one of the few times Wekiva has missed. Wekiva shooting about 50% from the floor. We got about 1,500 fans, of course, as I mentioned, in school day game. They filled up the stadium, the arena, as Lake Nona looking to cut that lead back down to single digits. Your statistics which propel Wekiva into that lead. No dice, can't find the range. Kamani Dixon creams off the rim. And now Eric Nichols, for maybe the second time tonight, will bring the ball up on a more deliberate pace. Hands off to Facilin, can't get the 12-foot turnaround to drop. So neither team able to score since we went to the timeout. That's good news for Wekiva as they maintain the 11-point lead. Lake Nona shooting under 30%. We've seen a lot of those misses throughout the quarter and a half. Now Lake Nona, as we approach 4 minutes before halftime, still an opportunity, second consecutive, to cut the lead to single digits. It's been a fast-moving game. Up and down the court we've gone. Both these teams already over 20 field goal attempts. Basket does not count. Whistle a couple seconds before the launch.
Foul is called against Mustangs, number 2, Leuven St. Pierre. His first personal foul, the team's third. Returning to the game for the Mustangs, number 1, TJ Thomas.
So Thomas will come into the game. As you heard, that other voice here is Mark Barchi. He's also our public address announcer, as well as my on-air partner. Beezer can't find the range on the tray, and Wekiva now, they'll have an opportunity to up the 11-point lead. The Juice steps back, way off the mark, doesn't catch rim, but doing Windex work. That's Eric Nichols. Wekiva now with 11 offensive rebounds.
Foul is called against number 3, Kamani Dixon, his third personal foul. Team's first this quarter. That was on the floor. It'll be Mustangs ball at the opposing baseline.
Wekiva with 9 points coming off offensive rebounding on second chance opportunities, as Mark likes to say. In the corner now, 3:30 first half. Back into the corner, Thomas launches, Kareem's off, bounces, and so Lake Nona will get that offensive rebound, give it to Beezer. At the other end, Beezer trying to make something happen. Oh, in and out. And Eric Nichols pulls down another rebound for Wekiva. Three minutes before halftime, neither team scored in the last 3 minutes or so, maybe 2.5. Both teams have gone cold from the field. Wekiva shooting around 50% before they went cold. Lake Nona has been cold throughout the game, around 30%. Rebounding and turnovers has been the story of the game. And speaking of rebounding, there's an offensive one. De Juice skying for it, fighting underneath. Can't get the shot up. Nice job by Lake Nona.
Coast-to-coast layup for Kaysen Beezer.
And a nice job converting that defensive rebound.
Timeout, Mustangs.
Nice job by Lake Nona converting the defensive rebound into the deuce at the other end. Wekiva still with the 9-point lead, 26-17. Mustang Arena, the site. .2:17 remaining before halftime. Mustang Arena the lead. And Wekiva with the 9-point lead. They've led for all this game except about 15 seconds, maybe 20. Looking to go 3-0 for the first time in 3 seasons. Lake Nona looking to even their record at 1-1 in the young season. They have possession of the ball now. Thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon. The first ever in-school day game in any sport from Wekiva campus. Minute and a half remaining. Lake Nona still trying to find its range, trying to find its mojo, especially in field goal percentage. Can't get it to drop there. That was Rivera. Offensive rebound, bounds off the heel, and it'll be Wekiva possession.
Foul is called against number 23, Leonardo San Juan, his second personal foul, the team's second.
And not only, as you just heard Mark, not only does the possession go to Wekiva, but as you just heard Mark Barchi, my on-air partner, public address announcer. It's a foul on Lake Nona. Foul's not an issue. 3 for Wekiva, 2 for Lake Nona. Wekiva with the 26-17 lead as we approach a minute before halftime. Drain the rain!
For Jason Francia.
And just that quickly, the lead back up to 12. Largest of the game for Wekiva, third time today.
Mustang foul called against number 23, Caden Jean Lewis. That's his first personal foul, the team's fourth.
So, of course, being an in-school day game, the stands are filled. We have had an eclectic and electric atmosphere since this game tipped off. 45 seconds to go. Lake Nona looking to cut into that 10-point lead. Of course, the traditional logic, if you're the coaches, you want to get that lead down to single digits. They're going to attempt that. Can't get it to go. Clanks off the rim. Skying for the rebound was Frenselin, and Wekiva walked the ball up. Eric Nichols with 25 seconds before halftime in the 12-point lead. If they score here, they'll take the largest lead of the game into halftime. That's Frenselin along the baseline trying to go get that zone defense. Wekiva unable to get that lead up to 14 or 15.
Stripped by Beezer. He's going to take the three himself, and it's short.
Frenselin rips the rebound down. 5 seconds and a mistake by Lake Nona. I believe Beezer committing the foul. That would have been a hard ask for Wekiva to get some points with only 4 seconds remaining, and now they'll go to they'll get to reset.
Foul's called against number 11, Romello Herrera. His first, the team's third.
4.7 seconds remaining. Wekiva 12-point lead, looking to take the last points of the half and the largest lead into halftime. Back to Nichols. And he can't get that pass off. Probably would have been better advised just to launch it. Nonetheless, Wekiva looking like a 2-0 team and a team looking to rebound from a disappointing previous season.
That takes us to halftime, and it is a 12-point advantage for the Mustangs going into the locker room. 29-17 is your score at intermission here on Friday afternoon basketball action to wrap up the portion of the school year before Thanksgiving break.
Can we get the horn at 3 minutes? I don't know who was working the clock. Thank you.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. We are at halftime with a 29-17 lead for the Mustangs. And Neil, I think we've seen a continuation of what we started in the preseason classic and what we saw earlier this week with the Mustangs' initial wins. Defense outstanding. Offense varies between good and great. At times, the Mustangs are inspired and in late season to playoff form. At worst, they do sometimes cool off, but they're at least able to sustain and not lose momentum. And so far, that's been enough to give them a comfortable, if not necessarily foregone conclusion kind of lead, as the Lions have the opening possession of the second half.
Yeah, we begin the second half, Mark, with the 29-17 lead. A 14-0 run midway through that first quarter, propelling them into the lead. First basket scored
Opening
by
basket
Beezer.
by Kaysen Beezer.
So that'll cut the lead to 29-19, 10 points. If you're Lake Nona, you want to get that lead down to single digits as soon as possible. But back to your point, Mark, yes, absolutely. And I would add to that, piggyback on that the defense, we always hear coaches talk about how defense carries, defense travels. In other words, you can play lousy on offense, but you can still win if you're playing solid defense.
Mustang basket by Kenny Juju.
And to that point, Mark, when Wekiva's offense has not been collecting points, not been able to quite get in sync, which you would still expect, this is only the third game of the season, the defense has certainly made up and compensated.
3 for Kaysen Beezer.
31-22 now, lead back under 9. That's exactly what you want to do if you're Lake Nona. Got down to single digits within the first minute of the second half. Looking at your stats, certainly the stats reflecting what you were saying, Mark. Of course, mentioned throughout the first quarter, it's been turnovers and offensive rebounding that has carried Wekiva to the lead, and in particular during the 14-0 run, Wekiva finishing with 30 rebounds in that first half, 14 out of the offensive nature compared to only 15, so a 2-1 advantage for Wekiva, and then 10 turnovers for Lake Nona compared to 6 for Wekiva. Lake Nona actually turning the ball over 7 times.
3 for Kamani Dixon.
Lake Nona turning the ball over 7 times in that first quarter, coinciding with that 14-0 run. So certainly Lake Nona improving on the turnovers in the second quarter, and that allowing them to keep that lead around 10 points. Now, of course, down to 6. Wekiva needing the points, and they drain the ring.
The deuce for Jason Francione.
Okay, so a 2-pointer that makes the lead 33-25. Nonetheless, Wekiva answering a couple of possessions. Down low, wide open. Carey slams it through.
Dunked by Will Carey for the Lions.
Cuts the lead back down to 6 points, 2.5 into the third quarter. Mustang Arena, your site for this first ever game in-school game from Wekiva campus in any sport. Certainly has lived up to the glamour and the hype. Clanking off that rim, Thomas unable to find the range on the tray, trying to answer Lake Nona. Back the other way we go, approaching 5 minutes, third quarter. Hitting the deck is Beezer, and he'll go to the line for 3 free throw attempts.
Foul is called against Mustangs number 10, Jason Francione. That's his first personal foul, the team's first of this quarter. And it sends the Lions to the free throw line. This will be number 2, Kaysen Beezer shooting 2.
Okay, so again, I correct myself. It's 2 free
Yeah, it was
throws,
close.
not
It was
3.
close. His foot was on the line. First is good.
So one of 2 drops. It does cut the lead to 5 points. Wekiva slowing down the pace. That's Nichols. He passes it over to Thomas, back to Nichols. And possession remain with Wekiva. So again, the story of the game right now, if you're looking for a turning point, it was midway through the first quarter, over about 3 minutes. Wekiva manufacturing a 14-0 run. That's the difference. They still have the 5-point lead. Thomas ripping the ball down. Windex work continues.
Foul is called against number 23, Leonardo San Juan. That's his third personal foul, the team's first of this period.
Wekiva inbounds it underneath. The Juice floats in the deuce.
Can he do juice for the deuce?
So Lake Nona scored on the first 3 possessions of the second half. Since then, the leads alternated between 7 and 10 points.
Now
Actually,
10 points in the books for
five
the
and
juice.
10 points. Lake Nona, the drive by Carey. Oh, can't get the slam to go down. Tried to get fancy. Wekiva immediately crashes the board, see if they can take advantage on the miscue. Yes! Drain the rain!
For DJ Thomas!
And we saw this in their last game on Monday night, or Tuesday night. Just as quickly that lead get down to 5, and just as quickly back up to 10, now back down to 8.
Dixon adds 2 for Lake Nona.
So Lake Nona shooting the ball far better than they did in the first half. They shot under 30%. Now probably up to about 40%. Please remember, we don't have statisticians here, so we have to do it by the eye test. Down low, oh, no foul there as Francillon trying to force the issue. And now Lake Nona opportunity to cut into that lead, and they do. Score the tray.
Score the 3 for Kamani Dixon. Back down to a 5-point lead. 38-33, Mustangs still on top. Lake Nona keeping pace though. Not ready to go quietly.
Wekiva holding the ball. That's Nichols. He'll slow down the pace now. Lead's been cut down to 5 points in the third quarter. Drain the rain!
Jason Francia!
Wekiva 5 of 10 from beyond the arc in that first half. They've continued that pace, 2 of 4, 50% here in the second quarter. Both of those trays coming at critical points, re-upping the lead. Float in the deuce. Lake Nona continues.
Brandon Rivera adds 2 for the Lions.
Lake Nona continues to put the heat and the pressure on Wekiva. Francillon, stop, pop, no drop from beyond the arc. Ripping the rebound, skying San Juan with only 5 points, but he's been a monster on the board. The tray rattles in and out. Another skying rebound. This time it's De Juice doing a nice job. The 6'6" sophomore beginning his second campaign on Wekiva Varsity. Nichols drives the lane from the right. Can't get the ball to float in and the touch, and a foul on the rebound. No foul. Okay, just it'll be out of bounds in a possession for Lake Nona. Chance to cut that lead down to 4 points, possibly even 3. That'll be the closest they've been since the second possession. And that goes by the wayside, and just as quickly that goes by, the other turnover goes by the wayside.
Basket by Will Carey, and we'll pause for a Mustang timeout. Full timeout requested by Wekiva.
41-37 your score, 1:50 remaining. Third quarter, Lake Nona has cut into that lead, and they are challenging for the lead. We'll be back with the rest of the third quarter from Mustang Arena.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher to take you through the last 9 minutes, 50 seconds before Thanksgiving break. We'll see how much of the crowd clears out in about 10 minutes because that is the official end of the school day.
Yeah,
or excuse me, 20 minutes.
For now, there's a full stands, about 1,500 fans. Probably the largest crowd this gym has ever seen, Mark. And certainly they've gotten their money worth. The lead has gotten a lot more closer. It's been not quite as comfortable the last 4 minutes or so. Lake Nona shooting under 30% in that first half. They certainly rectified that in the second half. I'd say they're shooting around 50%. Again, that's just the eye test. Please remember, Mark and I, we don't have an official statistician. This is high school ball. But I would say the eye test, they've gotten around 50%, and that's allowed them to cut a 14-point lead all the way down to 4 in the second half. They've also cleaned up the turnovers, 10 in the first half, only 2 in the second half. 150 remaining as Wekiva goes to work, 41-37. Lake Nona in the full court man-to-man defense, a lax one though. And Wekiva definitely needs some points here to re-up that lead, get some more comfortability. They won't get it on that. St. Pierre unable to find the mark, but offensive rebounds continues. Wekiva's been a monster on those boards, and it results in a trip to the free throw line, 129, third quarter.
Fouls called against number 23, Leonardo San Juan. That's his 4th personal foul, the team's 2nd of this half. At the line, shooting 2 for the Mustangs, Jason Francia.
Wekiva with 14 points in the first half. 14 offensive rebounds in the first half, compared to only 4 for Lake Nona. And I believe they also scored 11 points off of offensive rebounds.
Checking into the game for Lake Nona, number 5, Xavier Perez.
They only have...
So San Juan comes off with 4 fouls, and so that could be impactful.
Wekiva now with 4 offensive rebounds.
Full court press, and the Mustangs pressure starts to get to the Lions, and we're going to get a timeout.
So 14 offensive rebounds for Wekiva in the first half. Not quite as strong in the second half, but still a strong 4. And they've scored off of all 4 of those offensive rebounds. You could also say that that's the difference right now. Those offensive rebounds and converting them into points. 6-point lead, 124, third quarter, first ever in-school day game.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi and Neil Fisher here for the call of this special edition of Mustang basketball. We're going to pause for the old cause here as we mop up some sweat on the floor. And I'll tell you, Neil, just to give you an idea of the amount of energy in the room, I actually had to go back into the equipment room and get an additional amplifier and some speakers because the sound is so deafening from behind me that the gym's PA system is just not sufficient.
And in that backdrop, Wekiva battles on with Lake Nona, minute 20, third quarter. We've seen the lead cut all the way down to 4 points. It's currently at 6. Wekiva full man-to-man. That's their signature defense under Coach Lubin. No dice, long-range rebound for Dixon. And unable to corral that rebound was Lake Nona. St. Pierre comes up with it. He'll lead the charge, sets the offense, drops under a minute. Wekiva had a 14-point lead at halftime. As I mentioned, we'll cut all the way down to 4. It's between 4 and 9 for most of this third quarter. As we get a whistle on the drive and the attack from St. Pierre.
Fouls called against Lake Nona's number 3, Kamani Dixon. His 4th personal foul, the team's 3rd in this period. The line shooting for the Mustangs, number 2, Lubin St. Pierre.
Nice looking stroke on that first attempt. And if you joined us late, a 14-point run in that first quarter put Wekiva in the lead. We've only had 3 lead changes and 1 tie. That was facilitated by Lake Nona turnovers and Wekiva offensive rebounds. Wekiva scoring 11 points after offensive rebounds. They came up with 14 in the first half. Oh, that would have been a beautiful shot, beautiful conclusion. but the rim did not cooperate. Lead remains at 7 now. So Wekiva unable to get the maximum, but they do up the lead at the other end. Chance to go back-to-back with points. Won't go. Francillon battling for the offensive rebound. And the old off the heel. Great play, smart play from Francillon.
Yeah, that's just what they teach you in practice. If you've run out of options, bounce it off the other guy's knee or heel, get it out of bounds, keep the possession alive.
44-37 lead for Wekiva.
Timeout, Mustangs.
That basket does not count. Coach Lubin calling the timeout before the launch. 24.7 seconds remaining. We've reached a critical point. Lake Nona looking to cut into that lead and gain some momentum past a 5-point deficit. Wekiva looking to reestablish a comfortable lead.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher. Mustangs trying to get the last word of the third quarter.
An eclectic and electric affair through this first ever in-school day game.
Traveling Lions ball.
Certainly you can feel a first ever here. It's been emotional, and both teams have been playing hard. 15 seconds remaining. Lake Nona looking to cut further into their lead. They've cut the lead down to as low as 4. 8 seconds remaining. Looks like they're going to take the last shot. One-on-one, man-to-man. And some bad luck there. Rivera tripping on the floor. Foot just slipped out of him, so that eliminates the opportunity of that lead being cut down to as low as 4. Can Wekiva get one last shot off? No, they're not going to even attempt it. And so that third quarter comes to an end at the first ever in-school day game. Wekiva cut still a 44-37 lead as we head into the fourth quarter from Mustang Arena. Mustang Arena, the site on this Friday afternoon, the Friday before Thanksgiving break. The first ever in-school day game in any sport on Wekiva campus. And Wekiva has certainly lived up to the idea, the pomp and the circumstances. A 44-37 set lead as we enter the final quarter. Wekiva leading by as many as 14 points. They went on a 14-0 run in the first quarter, midway through, and they have led ever since then. About 30 seconds, they have not led in this game. That was Francillon trying to connect on the drive and the attack.
Hell ball. Possession, Lions.
Lake Nona has cut into that lead as low as 4 points in the third quarter. All the way from that 14-point lead at halftime. Wekiva in the full court, man-to-man. We've seen them alternate between half court and full court, the signature philosophy of Coach Lubin's defensive attacks. 30 seconds in, contact. And that was Beezer who took it on the chin.
Kenny DeJuiced is called on the Mustangs foul. That's his first personal, the team's first of this period.
Wekiva getting off to a 2-0 start, so they're looking to win their third consecutive game to start the 25-26 season. Lake Nona losing their only game they played, 78-76 to Innovation. Loose ball, like no, nice job of staying with it. Block, no, not clean though.
Foul is called against number 21, Kenny DeJuiced. That's his second personal foul, the team's second of this period. And that will send the Lions number 11, Romello Herrera, to the line shooting 2.
So Herrera at the line. He has yet to score his first points. Mentioned at the beginning of the game, Lake Nona coming in off a 10-14 record. The team last year gave up an average of 55.5 points, scored only 52. So that certainly would coincide with the 10-14 record. And they lost pretty much their entire their main rotation in terms of scoring as the ball rims out. Offensive rebound, Windex work for Perez, can't get the second chance as the Wekiva defense collapsed, forcing him to shoot off his heel. And in that first game, they had 3 new guys in terms of scoring step up. That being San Juan with 22, Herrera with 16, and Beezer with 15. And so far today, other than Beezer, no one scored in double digits. As we get another turnover, score remains 44-38.
This is an injury timeout.
Yeah, I can't see which of the Lake Nona players hit the deck. They're over underneath the basket Wekiva is looking to score on.
And for our Mustang students in attendance, the buses are here. So if you are depending on a bus to get home from today's game, the buses have arrived. We wish you a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Once again, the buses have arrived. If you are depending on the buses to get home from today's game, you can make your way to them safely at this time. And we wish you a safe and happy Thanksgiving break. We will see you a week from Monday.
So that was Will Carey who suffered the injury, the 6'8" junior forward/center. As you can see, he's walking gingerly off with the help of the training staff. 6:48 remaining in this first ever in-school day game, although that's drastically changed. You probably could hear Mark Barchi is not only my on-air partner, but he's our public address announcer. And the buses have arrived, so we're going to get a longer timeout than usual as everybody's going.
Don't forget, as you are headed home, if you've still got some charge on your phone, just turn the game on YouTube so you can watch the conclusion. Again, the channel name is Wekiva Sports. So if you have to leave now to catch the bus, we understand, but make sure you watch on the way home. Again, the channel name is Wekiva Sports on YouTube. Oh, does that include you? Oh, shoot. Who's going to run the camera for the rest of the day? You doing anything? Back and forth, back and forth. That's all.
So Wekiva took a 14-point lead into halftime. That was spurred by a 14-0 run, about 3.5 minute period in the first quarter. That run was spurred by turnovers committed by Lake Nona. They ended that first half with 10. They actually had 7 in the first quarter. An offensive rebound by Wekiva, monster on the board. They ripped down 14 in the first half, scored 11 points off of offensive rebounds after corralling those rebounds. Lake Nona came out, scored on their first 3 possessions. If memory serves me correct, it was 2 trays and a deuce. Cut the lead all the way down to 4 points on 3 different occasions in the third quarter. The lead now currently 6 points. For the most part, the 2 teams have traded baskets throughout the first minute, 12 seconds in this fourth quarter. And again, that takes us to the 44-38 lead for Wekiva. This was the first ever in-school game on the Wekiva campus in any sports. Of course, the buses have arrived. Most of these students, we had about 1,500 in attendance, along with the teachers have cleared out. Now there's about 150 fans in attendance. We do thank them for sticking around. Of course, I'd also point out that a lot of the students don't have any choice. They can't stay. They have to take the bus home.
This is not a sudden drop in support for Wekiva. It's just this is their way home.
So Wekiva half court, man to man, 6:45 inbound for Lake Nona, looking to cut into that 6-point lead. Back to live action. Wekiva looking to go 3-0 on the season. First time in 3 seasons. Of course, that 21-22 team advancing all the way to the state Final Four. Wekiva winning only 5 games 2 seasons ago, upping the record to 10-14.
Foul is called against Mustangs, number 12, Markel Anderson. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 3rd.
So Beezer will inbound the ball with 6:30 remaining. And Lake Nona facing that 6-point deficit. And as you would expect, Wekiva continuing, or at least the expectations are to continue the upward trend. 5-18 2 seasons ago, 10-14 last season. So certainly your first mark would be getting over 500. The other one, the residual effect, would be getting into the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think it's probably not fair to say that Wekiva is in playoff form yet, but I think it is fair to say they're in mid-season form.
Yeah, they're in a position, the quality of the play is good enough that they will be in playoff form over the last third of the season or so. As a couple of players hit the deck, that's Herrera for Lake Nona and
Mustang foul is called against number 12, Markel Anderson, for tripping.
Markel Anderson, as you just heard Mark say, for Wekiva.
His 4th personal foul, the team's 4th.
Your leading scorers, Jason Francelin for Wekiva and Kason Beezer for Lake Nona. Both have had 12 points. Number 2 is Kenny DeJuice. He has 10. So certainly a balanced attack for Wekiva. It's certainly been much more of a one-man show for Lake Nona. As I mentioned, Kason Beeson, your leading scorer with 12 points. No one else with more than 6. 5:56 remaining. Mustang Arena, the site. Lake Nona back to work. They've cut the lead to as little as 4 points on 3 occasions. Down that lane, the drive, the attack at San Juan. Does not score, but he will go to the free throw line, whacked in the paint.
Foul called against Mustangs, number 10, Jason Francian, his 2nd, the team's 5th. That will send number 23, Leonardo San Juan, to the line, shooting 2.
So San Juan, the leading scorer in the opening season loss for Lake Nona, 22 points. A quiet 4 today. Nice looking stroke on that first free throw attempt. Backs it up with a second one. And the lead back down to 4 for the 4th time in the second half. Wekiva's led by as many as 14. As St. Pierre brings the ball over half court, he'll take the ball to the rack himself. And as you like to say, Mark, a variation, one good free throw foul deserves another.
Foul is called against number 11, Romello Herrera, his 2nd personal foul, the team's 1st of this period. Mustangs ball at the opposing baseline.
Of course, the difference between the last 2 fouls is the one for Lake Nona, that was deemed a shooting foul. This is not a shooting foul. Nope.
That is a shooting foul. And so the Mustangs will go to the free throw line. This will be number 2, Leuven St. Pierre.
Okay, so the refs discussed the matter, changed their mind, and now we can officially say that one good trip to the free throw line deserves another. 5:39 remaining. Wekiva the 4-point lead. And so Wekiva, after going 7 of 8 in the first 3 quarters. Their touch has deserted them, at least early in this fourth quarter, as now they get their first free throw to drop. So Wekiva unable to get the maximum 2, but certainly 1 point. That gets the lead back up to 5. And that 2-point lead is made up. You're going to have to get a 3-point at some point if you're Lake Nona. Now the drive from Beezer, loses the ball momentarily, regains it. One-on-one, steps into the lane, score the tray, +1.
Basket is good by Kason Beezer for 3 and a chance to make it a 4-point play. The foul is called against the Mustangs. Number 10, Jason Francian, his 3rd personal foul.
And
So Neil, that's just about as sideways as a play can go if you're Wekiva.
Yeah, off the tracks. And that's the 2nd time today that Wekiva's committed a foul on a 3-point play. And that just might be the foul that spurs Lake Nona onto a run. But there they get the roll. Score for Nichols, floats in the deuce.
Eric Nichols with a second chance basket. 10 points for him tonight. Or this afternoon, I should say.
So mention
stolen by Leuven St. Pierre. A chance to add to the lead. Transition pass is blocked by Romello Herrera. And it's going to go the way of the Lions. So the Mustangs just about managed to land a 1-2 punch.
and
Jason Francillian is called with his 4th personal foul. Penalty situation. First, checking into the game for Lake Nona, Kamani Dixon. And now shooting the bonus free throws is Romello Herrera.
Yeah, and I think maybe not directly, but in terms of the momentum, and just as you, to piggyback on your thought of 2 possessions ago, the train's coming off the track, play going sideways. Now Wekiva will be, or Wekiva with the 5 fouls, Lake Nona will be in bonus the rest of the way, and there's just under 5 minutes. And on top of everything else, Jason Francillian, the leading scorer with 12 points, is now have 4 fouls, 10 points.
And he comes off
12
right now.
points, and yeah.
King Gene Lewis will take his place. So he's not out of the game yet, but it will cost him some minutes.
Yeah, and again, Wekiva now being hurt. And there's a ticky-tack foul where Herrera
Foul's called against Lions. Romello Herrera, his 3rd, the team's 2nd.
So now that 4-point play, get back to that, that might wind up being the most important play of the game, because for the first time in this game since the 2nd possession, the lead is down to 1 possession. It's just a 1-point lead. Wekiva nursing it. They had as many as 14. They went into halftime with that 14-point lead. They need points. They need to refine their rhythm and their mojo. Nichols left, right, throws it up. And smart play. He'll draw the foul. And I believe it was Herrera who it's being called against. He's walking along the stands. And no, it's actually...
Foul is called against number 1, Brandon Rivera. That's his 1st personal foul, the team's 3rd, and it sends Eric Nichols to shoot 2.
So that was not Beezer. It was Herrera. And I got confused. There was actually Herrera who was walking along the far sideline. So Nichols at the line with 10 points, the 2nd leading scorer for Wekiva, 3rd overall. And he's able to get 1 of 2. So Wekiva only 2 of 6 at the line in this 4th quarter after missing only 1 throughout the first 3 quarters. That's also led into this lead shrinking down to a deuce. And the defense came up, and it might not still be a wasted attempt. Wekiva maintains possession. So Wekiva catching the break. Inbounding the pass will be Gene Luis, another sophomore on this team, 6'5" sophomore. As we mentioned throughout the game and the first 2 games, this is a team that has everybody returning from the last 2 seasons, and they added Kai Orr. He's not into the game right now, but certainly a team that's on an upward trend, looking to improve on a 10-14 record. get into the playoffs, at least challenge for a playoff berth. 2022, that team made it all the way to the state Final Four, and everybody in the main rotation moved on. So certainly the experience, and they're going to have to use every experience has been a main ingredient.
It's deflected out of bounds by Kaysen Beezer.
I would even go as far as saying experience has been the under the surface ingredient, and Wekiva's quality of play leading them to 2 victories in 2 games to start the season. And they'll have to rely on the experience again, nursing that 2-point lead as we drop to the last 4 minutes on this Friday afternoon game from Mustang Arena. St. Pierre drops back. Trey cannot find the range. Bricks hangs hard. And possession will remain with Wekiva, so another offensive rebound. Wekiva beast on the offensive rebounds in that first quarter and first half. They had 14. Not quite as many in the second half as they've had 8 now. And that's opportunity goes by the wayside. Second turnover in this quarter, 5th in the half. Beezer drops back and drains the range.
3, and the go-ahead for Beezer.
Only the 4th lead change of the game, and the first since about a minute and a half in. We got a whistle. So Lake Nona has not just cut into the what was once the 14-point lead at halftime, but they've totally
Foul is
erased
called
that.
against number 23, Leonardo San Juan. That's his 5th personal foul, and he retires from the game with 7 points for Lake Nona.
So both these teams, fouls are going to play a role the rest of the way. 3:13 remaining. 49-48 lead for Lake Nona. Their second of the game and the first since about a minute into the game. Both teams will be in bonus the rest of the way. Lake Nona has been in bonus for about a minute and a half now. Full court, man-to-man defense. As Francillin hits the deck on the attempted attack. And he's going to also be called for the foul. And that will be his last foul.
Jason Francillin is called on the foul. That's his 5th personal foul, and he will retire from the game with 12 points for the Mustangs.
So we go to the break, and Lake Nona enjoying their first lead of the game since about a minute in, 49-48. Lake Nona, Wekiva unable to put them away. We'll see if Lake Nona can hold on, or if Wekiva shows some resiliency in their experience. 3:10 remaining from Mustang Arena. Mustang Arena the site with 3:10 remaining, and Lake Nona Lions holding a 49-48 lead over the host school, Wekiva Mustangs. And we have certainly, since our last break, seen a turn of events. Watershed moment, Wekiva leading by as many as 14 points, including the halftime. That lead has not only been cut into, but now erased. A 4-point play, spurring that final push to gain the lead. And now Lake Nona with possession looking to gain their largest lead of the game. Try to get it up to 2 points. Won't happen. Quick hands at the other end. St. Pierre makes the deposit.
St. Pierre, coast to coast.
And when we went to the break, the question was, can Wekiva rebound and use that experience to answer? At least for the time being, the answer is a definitive yes.
Technical foul is called against the Lions bench. Shooting the technical free throws will be Eric Nichols.
And so as you heard Mark Barchi, he's also the public address announcer. That's why you might hear his voice a little bit deeper. As you heard him say, now a technical foul. And Mark, I've always felt that the impact, the biggest impact of the technical fouls is not getting to go to the free throw line, but it's also the fact that you get the possession. So you're basically getting 2 possessions for 1.
Yeah, and that's where everything works a little bit differently in high school than it does in college and professional. And the NFHS rules, which are adopted by the FHSAA, are designed to make it particularly punitive, that it is 2 shots and possession at the high school level.
And that also allows you to make a mistake, as Wekiva made, missing the free throw. So the baseline attempt by the Juice shows up nothing, takes it back out. 2:18 remaining, another whistle, and this is going to be for a timeout. Coach Lubin wanting to set his offense.
Timeout Mustangs, full timeout called by Wekiva.
Coach Lubin wanting to set his offense in what is a critical point of the game. Not only 2:18 remaining, but Wekiva trying to reseize some of that momentum and establish a 2-possession lead. 2:18 remaining from Mustang Arena. So what has been an exciting game, and certainly living up to the grandeur and glamour you would expect from the first ever in-school day game on Wekiva campus in any sport, now comes down to the last 2:18, and it's all about the basketball now. It's down to the business of winning a basketball game. Wekiva 51-49 lead in possession. Scrap underneath.
Out of bounds, stays with the Mustangs.
And so Wekiva led by 14 points at halftime. They led by 14 in total.
Strike that, the call is reversed. It is Lions ball.
3 different times they've had that 14-point lead. About a minute ago, Lake Nona completely erased that, took a 49 to 48 lead. Wekiva forced a turnover coming out of a timeout. They got the easy deuce in transition, then scored a basket on transition, a free throw actually, and that's where we are now as we hit 2 minutes remaining, 51-49 lead. Lake Nona with possession. Wekiva looking to start 3-0 for the first time in 3 seasons. Lake Nona coming off a 10-14 record, a chance to even the record at 1-1, losing their opening game to Innovation 78-76. Both these teams have shown improvement from last season in the quality of play. As the scoop and the deposit made, we're tied at 51.
Courtesy of Romello Herrera. 5 points for him tonight. New ball game, 90 seconds to go. And Neil, I'm having flashbacks here to the first game of the season.
Yeah, on Tuesday night. The drive by St. Pierre. Reaches back, answers with the deposit.
St. Pierre with the go-ahead basket. So now the Lions need to respond here.
5 lead changes, 2 ties, 1 minute remaining. The gym's empty out, but the atmosphere and environment has not changed. It's just as dramatic. The steal from Nichols. Can he convert? Yes!
3 consecutive deposits.
Eric Nichols!
4-point lead, 2 possession. Wekiva coming up with the defense when they need it.
Blocked
3rd
by
consecutive.
Kenny Deduced.
The juice.
Foul called against Lions number 2, Kason Beezer, his first personal foul. Penalty situation.
3 consecutive possessions. The defense has gone to their A game.
Leuven St. Pierre at the line, shooting 2. And Neil, I didn't want to jinx it, but this is feeling more and more like the season opener. Game tied with a minute and a half left, and then all of a sudden Wekiva digs deep and finds that last little...
It's been on the defensive end, which if you follow high school basketball in Central Florida, you know that's defense is the trade defense first is the trademark of Coach Leuven's philosophy. A couple of turnovers and then the rejected field goal attempt. And certainly, as we mentioned, we had about 1,500 fans in here. It's an in-school day. They cleared out when the buses arrived, most of them having to take the bus. But the 100 or so students...
No help from the rim that time.
The 100 or so students, about 50 of them are sitting directly behind our left, certainly have not laid off the intensity when it comes to the cheering with 32 seconds remaining.
Traveling Mustangs ball.
4 consecutive possessions on the defensive end. Wekiva's put its foot down. And if you ever needed an example of why defense carries, that's what coaches believe. We've seen it this afternoon on those 4 consecutive possessions. And
so now Leuven St. Pierre says, if you're going to foul me, you got to catch me first.
And
foul's called against number 2, Kason Beezer, his second. Penalty situation, Leuven St. Pierre back at the line for 2.
And Lake Nona having to foul with only 25 seconds remaining. So also want to point out, too, that Wekiva has overcome the loss of Jason Francillon. He left the game with 5 fouls about 2 minutes ago, and he was the leading scorer with just 12 points. But
St. Pierre gets by with a little help from the rim.
And I should say, at the time, Francillon was the leading scorer. Of course, now St. Pierre has taken over that moniker with 19 points. So now if you're Wekiva, it's pretty much your game to lose, even with that missed free throw. And now we got some jawing going on. And what's been a very clean game in terms of the quality, the excitement. And unfortunately that has not the way we're going to end the game, although give credit to our administrators, Coach Biaggi out there, Miss Apple. They got out there quickly to midcourt to separate the cluster of players. So Wekiva on a 10-2 run over the last minute and a half. .22 seconds remaining.
The officials sorting things out here, and we're going to get the call at the table here.
So the refs are at our table, scores table. They're still discussing the situation. The players have returned to the floor, obviously a lot less, much calmer. And now Wekiva's players going over to their bench. The refs have been called to center court for the description, explanation. 22 seconds remaining. It's a 51 to 51 lead, 58 to 51 lead for Wekiva. Lake Nona took its second lead of the game, the first since about a minute in the game, with about a minute and a half remaining at 49-48. Since then, it's been all Wekiva, a 10-2 run, propelled by some great defense. A-plus defense, 3 turnovers and a blocked shot. Wekiva scoring 6 of those 10 points in transition after the turnover. And so we're going to have some free throws. We have yet to receive the official explanation from the referees. But as you can see, the players are lined up for the free throws. And that's Kai Orr at the line.
So if 12 got a foul there, then that'll be his 5th.
That's 5 fouls on 12. We wait, y'all. We wait for 22.2 seconds left.
So who was the Lake Nona foul on? There has to be a Lake Nona foul for shooting.
Okay, so both teams in the bonus. Kai Orr at the line, the chance to what I think would pretty much put this game out of reach with a 3-possession lead, or 4-possession lead. Unable to get that first free throw though, so Lake Nona keeps hope alive. Right now with 7-point deficit, still a tall task. Second free throw drops, and now 4 possessions with only 22 seconds remaining. So Wekiva will go to 3-0 for the first time in 3 seasons, continuing their upward trend. Basket does not count. Foul after the whistle.
Foul's called against number 0, Kai Orr, his first. Penalty situation. Case and Beezer shooting 2.
And the first ever in-school game certainly lived up to the glamour and the grandeur for 3 quarters. The last minute and a half, it was all basketball as Wekiva again finishes off on will finish off on a 10-3 run, turning a 49-48 deficit into a victory, going 3-0 to start the season. Lake Nona drops to 1-2. Thank you for joining us for the first ever in-school game from Wekiva campus. Mark, take us to the finish line after this exciting Wekiva Mustangs victory.
Takes us to the end of the ball game. 59-52 is the final score. Here on Friday afternoon basketball action, we came from a tie at 90 seconds remaining to a 7-point victory for the Mustangs as we head into the Thanksgiving break. We want to thank everyone for coming out to support your Mustang and Lion athletes. Thanks also to those of you watching online on YouTube or the NFHS Network or Facebook Live. For those of you in the arena, we hope you drive carefully and arrive home safely and have a great Thanksgiving break. Those of you watching online, we hope that you'll subscribe before you go. Both of these teams will be playing in the Metro versus Florida Challenge next week. So we hope that you'll join us for that. Schedule for that Lake Nona play, actually Wekiva and Lake Nona play back-to-back. It's Tuesday, November 25th at Lake Highland Prep. Wekiva plays at 12:15 against Seabreeze. Lake Nona plays at 1:45 against Lake Wales. Once again, thanks for coming out to support your Mustang and Lion athletes. Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Until then, good day from Mustang Arena.